Welcome in, everybody. My name is Justin,
And I'm Leti.
and this is the
Just Like Us Podcast.
Today, we're going over a topic that is basically something that we go ahead, Lady.
Basically something that what we want to talk about tonight is remembering who you are in God's eyes and in your own. That's what we want to talk about tonight.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, and so letting go of the pressure of doing it right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And actually just doing it.
Yeah.
70% done is better than 100% perfect. Getting in there, making sure that you get it done, not having to have perfection.
Exactly. There's just been so many just wonderful little blessings, right, that have happened and, help remind me who I am, even when I'm not feeling my best. I still get to remember who I am. And that's all part of it too, right? Is that not being perfect, but being me. Right. It means letting go of old programs that don't serve you anymore, that were passed down with love.
Right.
Everybody, our parents and our, all of us, we all just did the very best we could with what we had and what we had. And I've heard a saying that says that when you know better, you do better. Right. And just know that can change it anytime that we grow, we change, we evolve. But who you are, inside stays the same for the rest of your life. It's like who you were when you were a child is who you are before all the programming got a hold of you and told you how you should be. Like, I don't know, what era you guys grew up in. I'm a Gen Xer. So mine was, I grew up with, sit down, behave, don't say that, say this, look, like, we were always like dressed up and, and don't get me wrong, I love to look nice too, but I also like to feel nice. And that is that's the era that I grew up in. But I get to go back, right? It's like that rebirth that we talk about, that remembering, going back to what lit you up as a kid, what, we didn't have any pressure. We were honest. We, took life as it came. We didn't need to have all the answers, and life was the answer. We get to do that with ourselves today, every single day, right? Even in the mundane. I don't care if you work a 9 to 5 or you're an entrepreneur building an empire, right? We all want that peace and that joy that, comes with enjoying who you are. And it goes back to remembering who you are and whose you are. And
ooh, I like that. Who's not only who, but who's. Woo, fire.
Are, I think. What about you, Justin?
Well, I think
what's your take on? What is your take on remembering who you are?
Well, I think I'm constantly evolving, right? Especially with the people I'm around and what I'm diving into. So I don't feel like I'm ever the same. I'm constantly, but I mean, at the core, I feel like we have our soul that we were born with, but I think we're constantly developing. And so at any given point, I'm changing all the time. But there's people that have known me my whole life that I haven't seen for years that are like, man, you're still the same person. You still tell people you love, you still clap, you still do all these things that you've been doing that are like, they're ingrained in me, the things that I've been doing since I was a young boy. Yeah. So, but I also feel like I have so many things to offer and I'm changing every day. So, I'm passionate about the things I do. And, in this program, in this topic, we're going to unlearn old programs, even the ones passed down with love, you know what I mean? And you get to decide, what's worth keeping and what needs to be released, right?
Release.
Right.
Yes. You also get to find, like I mentioned earlier, right, what lights you up in your everyday life, right? In the mundane, in the cleaning the house. Like for me, for instance, we own a dishwasher, but I use my hands, right? Because it gives me a moment to slow down and really think about the process, right? The tools that I'm using to clean, I use different tools, right? Different sponges and brushes and even little brushes to get in all the crevices, right? Really search. I mean, we get to ask, seek, and not, to we're getting the music ready here in the background too. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but music is also
Music
something
is huge,
that lights me up,
Yeah.
and I know it lights you up.
Absolutely,
And it isn't always, it's not always serious, like laughing at yourself, laughing at all the awkwardness or the things that you've done.
Right.
It's being funny and fierce. It's all of it. God didn't make us carbon copies of each other, because that, I think, would be a really boring world if he did.
Right.
You have originality. You have something that's, God, this is so distracting me right now. I'm sorry. Like, it just is.
The music?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
It's a little loud for me.
Sorry.
But it's okay. We'll work with it. We'll work with it. I mean, what we're trying to do here is, build a community, where people can come and just feel free to be themselves, with all of it, whatever that means to you, right? It's about building connection, being real and messy and having meaningful conversations, right? There's no pressure to perform or to pretend.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
let's start with our first point. You're not lost, you guys. You just took a detour through people pleasing. Let's be honest. How many of us have spent way too much time trying to make everyone else happy while losing ourselves in the process? I've been there. I used to be the type, I was a yes man. I liked to please people and say yes to everything. It was so difficult for me to say no for many, many years. And I realized this when I started using how in that game of the drug world and where people were real shady. It was I had to learn quick not to say yes to people because people will take advantage of you. And so that's when I really hit me man, I sure am a people-pleasing kind of person. And it took a lot of energy. It was constantly, having to appease people and do what other people wanted. And I did it because I thought it was helpful. I thought people were going to like me more because I'm already likable. I'm already the type of person that, I stand out in the crowd.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it was a way of me, being able to get people to like me more. And so I lost a lot of myself in that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I've done the same thing, right? And for a long time, and it was exhausting. People pleasing feels like love.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It feels like love because other people respond.
Right.
They respond to what you're giving them.
Right.
And they, they're telling you they like it. But then I tied my worthiness to that. If I said no, what would happen?
Right.
And at first that was, was a really scary concept for me, right? To practice just saying no without over explaining myself or, feeling guilty about saying no. And sometimes, I don't know. So I don't know if you can teeter, way to the other side of, just saying no too much. I don't know. I'm feeling my way through that right now and discovering, it feels good to say no.
Yeah, there is a power because
there is.
Your no now is a yes for your future. You're being able to say no now to certain things, which I'm learning, is definitely going to be a powerful yes for the things that I need to do, not just in business but in growth. Because I've spent a good portion of my life partying. I really have. I've spent a good portion of my life, carefree in a sense. I've always been responsible in a way, but not responsible enough to where I had my life together. I want to be able to have a business of my own. I want to be able to thrive and be able to do things that I need to do for myself. So in order to do that, you got to be buckled down. You really got to hunker down and be able to, really process information correctly and be able to provide and do the other things that you need to do to really taking all the information necessary to build, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but we've been given all the tools. It's just now how are you going to utilize those
right.
to
Apply
perform
them.
and to be able to do what you do best? Because I think I want to be able to do what I love to do and be able to get paid for that, right? And I love fixing stuff. So that's why I do what I'm doing with the job I'm at now. But at some point, I'm going to want to be able to use my brain, not my back, right? I don't want to be out here, working my butt off 9 to 5 every day when I could be at home using my brain. I mean, right? It makes sense to be able to utilize what God gave me and use my mind and my ideas and my creativity to be out there instead of feeling like I have to be working for someone else, because I'm not an hourly kind of person. I don't feel like I need to be getting paid for the task that I do in an hour. If I can provide a service to somebody and get paid for that service, whether it takes 5 minutes or 5 hours, and the income be the same, that's where I want to hit as a goal of being able to, make money for the ideas and the creativity that I have, as opposed to just going every day in, day out, clocking in, clocking out. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but that's why, I think it's so important, right, to explore yourself, right? And in the beginning, I think you've got to say a lot of no's, right? Like what we talked about, so that you can find, start asking yourself the questions like, what is it that you like to do? What makes you happy? And start doing those things, even right where you're at. Like I said, even if it is a 9 to 5,
right? Yeah,
right. Because you can be happy anywhere.
Exactly.
Anywhere.
And the beautiful thing is you can turn the car around at any given time. You can choose to live from values that's not someone else's expectations, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know I lived from other people's expectations, right? Because I'd been doing it for so long. It's sort of like I forgot who I was, right? That I was this, spiritual being having a very human experience, right? And I just was on autopilot for so many years. It's how people knew me. Oh, she's the go-to girl. She'll do anything and everything. But that could also, swing in the other direction, right? The using and the partying, I did things that went against who I was, right? Before I betrayed a partner or a friend or anybody else, right? I betrayed myself because I knew inside, right, that it didn't feel good to me and there would be consequences if I made this choice. And I made them anyway. But that didn't stop me from, being who I am. It just kept me stuck in a version of what other people thought I was. And, getting closer to the God inside of myself, right? We all have that inside of us. We have a divine nature that we can access at any time. Like I spent so much time looking out there. And when you spend time, with the God in you, and you start looking at yourself through that lens, you start to see it out there. You're not influenced by what's out there. You're influenced by what's in here. So what you see in here, you see out there. So if things look a little cloudy or like a little skewed out there, right, I know I need to go in and see and fix the lens and see where I'm off. Why am I not experiencing what it is I want to experience? What do I need to give myself that I am expecting other people to give me, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's where community comes into play, is everybody has a skill set, everybody has gifts, and it's, not being afraid to share those with each other and let each other share those, with us too.
Right, absolutely.
Like, I think it's really important.
And it's okay to love the people who taught you those things while you're still letting go, of the beliefs that you hold, right? It's not betrayal, it's growth. And so for us, one belief we had to release, was the belief that we have to please everybody. We have to please everybody. We have to, and we're getting closer to what we're wanting to do because we're staying true to ourselves. And so for me, it was, again, like being able to say no and showing up for myself. And, you want to be able to do what lights you up. It's a spiritual practice, I feel like,
It is.
It really is.
I mean, dancing is a spiritual practice, sharing time with somebody that you love and you like is a spiritual practice. You know, joy, the joy that you have inside of you, that's holy. You know, it's part of the design, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's we're not just meant to always be carrying weight with us. And not just, I don't know about you, Justin, but I carried a lot of weight that wasn't mine.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't realize that right until I got, you know, clean and sober.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Off of the substances that I was using.
Right.
And really started to sit with my pain and ask it what it was here to teach me. It was my friend. I'd been running and running and running from that pain, right? Of not wanting to look at myself because, gosh, if other people, you know, saw what I saw, they might not like it. And today, you know, it's okay if you don't, right? I mean, I'm not for everybody,
right? Yeah.
But I'm for me. And that is the most important thing to me. And I know that I'm very loved and very cared for. And I know that I, you know, help a lot of people just by giving myself permission. It gives them permission to find out what lights them up, right? And that is, again, what community is all about, is lighting each other up and not being afraid, you know, when someone's light is shining, right? It doesn't dim yours. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're less shiny or bright.
You're gonna be brighter with their light.
You're brighter with their light.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, you can share that light. We can share our light with each other. It's like a, you know, like a torch, you know, you get to pass it on.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and really, you know, clap for others' success.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, we do live in a world where, you know, it seems like it's like a dog eat dog world, right? Everybody is out for themselves. And I see that shifting, and it has to start with us, right? It has to shift inside of us. It's like we're constantly, you know, wondering where we're going to get this and where that's going to kind of have to get out there and grab it. And, you know, for me, for myself, right, it's all about positioning myself and aligning myself with the things that are meant for me, because I'm a big believer that whatever's meant for me, I'm not going to miss, especially if I've gone through and put myself through, right? All the things that I put myself through and all these good things are coming to me. It's not earned. I didn't do anything to earn them. They're just mine, right? There's not somebody that's going to come and save me. So if, you know, the story of Jesus is true, that he died for, you know, our sins, then we're already saved. We just haven't aligned with that truth yet, because there's things we've got to work through, right? There's things, not work through, but let go. We get to let go and surrender, right? And make room for what's really, really, truly meant for us. And to take a moment and to stop and enjoy, you know, the season that you're in, and and the good things that are coming to you. It's, you know, it's just go all the time. You know, I was guilty of that myself, right? It was all about achieving and getting this and getting that, and I got a lot of those things, but I wasn't happy inside. And so I don't know,
for me, what lights me up is being able to see other people learn from what I'm able to teach. And that's something that, you know, I've always found that to be very interesting, and a passion is being able to see when I'm able to teach something to someone, it lights me up. It really fires me up, like they're understanding, because sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 times to go over something to really, you know, understand. I've had head trauma before. I've been on the flight for life. You know, when I was younger, I hit my head, and I've had, you know, I've woke up in the hospital a couple of times. And so I've had brain trauma. And so when it comes to like learning things, I actually need to be able to take, you know, do a double back and be able to. So when I get something and I'm able to teach it, I'm like, okay, so I see the lights going off in people's heads when I'm able to see, you know, them learning. I'm like, okay, it's working, kind of thing. So, and I love that. And so we're going to learn it, and then we're going to end up doing it, and then we're going to end up teaching. That's my goal, is to be able to learn it, do it, and then teach it. So, and it feels good to be able to see other people, you know, when they get that aha moment and it was something that I was able to contribute or help with. So that lights me up, being able to see others learn from something that I've learned, and I'm able to teach them. You know what I mean? It feels really, really good, and I'm passionate about that. So I'm going to get into being more of a teacher, because I feel like I'm a bit seasoned now in my life. I'm a bit seasoned, and I'm able to, express how I feel about certain things, and to teach youngsters, or even people my age, even older people, where I've learned and experienced, to be able to help them in any way I can. So, and when I do that, I feel more connected to God and myself than when I just grind through life. You know what I mean?
Right. Same here.
Yeah.
And sometimes what lights me up is so simple, like dancing in the kitchen or spending time outside in nature.
Right. Yeah. And another point is, alignment isn't perfection, it's permission. So permission to grow, permission to try, to mess up, and to start again as many times as it takes, you guys. You're never disqualified from your purpose just because you stumble, right?
Right.
Yeah.
God's not keeping score to punish you. That's what I used to think, right? Was, oh my gosh, now I'm not even enough for God, because now he's gonna, I have to be obedient and I have to do this. And it was just more of the same. And maybe it's because the way that I looked at myself, right? The way I saw myself is the way that I saw God, but that's changed for me today, right? He came into my mess. He didn't wait for me to get perfect or wait for me to earn it, right? He came into my mess and helped me see a better way, helped remind me. He showed me who he created me to be, and I'm able to, walk in that on a daily basis. And yeah, that, all of me, right? Even those dark parts that I tried to suppress and didn't want anyone to see, like I get irritated sometimes, I yell sometimes, but I come back to center. That's the beautiful part of this, is I don't have to stay stuck there, but I also don't have to pretend that I'm not human.
Right. Yeah.
Those are emotions. I am, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here. I am, my feelings are valid. What I feel is valid. And I don't want to use the word entitled, but I am, I don't have to be on all the time, right? Because to me, that feels like pretending. And I did that for a lot of my life, while inside something else was going on, right? And I've really gotten in touch with all the things that are, and there's still things that are coming up, and there's still room for me to let go and to surrender, right? So that I can, have the life that God wants me to have.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we want to hear from you guys. So what is one belief that you guys have carried that doesn't feel true anymore? You know what I mean? What's something weird, random, or joyful that you don't, that makes you closer to God, makes you yourself again? And if being yourself, could actually lead you into your purpose, would you finally stop trying to be someone else, right?
Yes. I mean, that's what I did. That's what I'm doing. I am, being myself more and more, right? The more I remember, right? And it comes with breaking patterns, right? Disrupting them. Or, it's again asking myself, well, whose voice is saying that to me? Where did this come from? And is that still in alignment with who I've always been?
Right.
And so, yeah, I get to ask those questions. And what did you ask? What was one thing that isn't true?
Oh, well, so basically,
anymore?
If being yourself could actually lead you into your purpose, would you finally stop trying to be someone else?
Oh, I thought there was a question like before that you asked.
What was it? What was it?
I'm trying to remember
what's something weird, random, or joyful you do that makes you feel closer to God or yourself again?
No, it wasn't that one.
Okay, if I'm trying to remember here, let's see here.
I thought it was
what's one belief that you've carried,
right?
That doesn't feel true anymore. Yeah, that part. So, for me is again, I don't have to appease everybody. I don't have to please people. I don't have to, be nice to everybody. Saying no is a power for me now. I feel like it's something that I can do and not feel anything but good about, because again, the time spent, I'm never going to get back. Let's be honest, you guys, like we're spending time And I'm looking for ways to buy back my time. I'm actually reading a book by Dan Martell that says, buy back your time. And I picked this book up because I really need more structure on where I'm spending my time, because it's precious. There's going to be a day where I'm on my deathbed, and you know, hopefully, and I'll be hopefully not regretting what I did with my time. I want to make sure that I'm spending the time where I need to do family, you know, God, work, you know, the things that I need the most, and not just kind of everywhere. Because I feel like with structure, I'm going to be able to really dive deep into what I need to do to be able to make the most impact, because I do want to leave this earth with a dent, and a good dent. I want people to be able to say he was a good person, and my kids to be able to say, hey, my dad taught me a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? My father did this and he did that. And so he was able to leave a legacy. And, you know, I really just want to work toward the person I want to be, and then to leave that legacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that's good.
Yeah. And it feels purposeful, you know? It feels genuine. It feels like that's where I'm aiming toward in life, is where do I want to be in the next few years right now, you know?
And I would say that, you know, you're leaving a lasting impact. I mean, you know, just on myself, right? And the people that we know, you know, together, what they say about you. You know, I've met a lot of, you know, your friends that you've been friends with for a majority of your life.
40 years. She's known a few of my friends that I've known for 40 years.
Yeah. And listening to, you know, your transparency and the stories, right, that you share, and the you know, the way that they view you. Right. And it says it all right there.
What's crazy about that is I have told Leti some stories, and then she would meet the people, and I'm like, and so she's actually hearing them talk about these stories, whether it be when I was in prison or when I was a kid, and from various people, because a lot of the people that I'm around now, I've known for at least 25, 30 years. Some of them I've known for 40 years, legitly. And so for me, telling Leti these stories and having other people confirm them, because I'm telling you guys what, some of these stories are wild. Like, I was like unbelievable. Okay. And I don't always tell people these stories because, again, I don't always have somebody to back me up. Not that I would lie about something like this, but they're just so unbelievable that you can't help but wonder, like, is that true? You know what I mean? And so I've told some of these stories to Leti, and my mom has confirmed them. My friends have confirmed them. You know, and so there's been many people who back these, not by me saying, "Hey, remember that time didn't this happen?" They just come up and tell Leti these stories, and she's like, "Wow, okay." So, and again, not that she's questioning my authenticity, but they're just so outlandish. They're just so crazy. Like, wow, that really, like, you guys, man, you have no idea. Some of these stories are just crazy. And then there's people that come back and say, yeah, that really happened. And so, I mean, even simple stories like when I was in prison, like, these guys were going to jump me. And it was because I had a big old afro, right? I had an afro, huge afro. And I was sitting at the table with the white boys and the black dudes. I mean, and the white boys didn't like it. They didn't like that I had an afro. So they called me out there, and I told Leti about this story, how these guys were going to go jump me. And I tied my hair back, and I'm ready to go fight 5 or 6 of these dudes. I wasn't no punk. So I'm like, let's go. And so Rampage, Michael, he came on tour. He was one of our very first guests, I think. And he came on and he confirmed that, and was like, he was telling them how this really truly happened. And so things like that, you know what I mean, that are unbelievable. But it's cool because, you know, I get to be who I am. And a lot of people will tell you I'm still who I was as a youngster, just older. You know what I mean? I'm still, but I feel like I've changed in so many different ways. I mean, I eat different. I even sleep different. You know what I mean? There's so many things that I do differently now, and it feels so good. So, but yeah. So when we don't have guests, we typically keep it a little bit shorter, only because we'll just keep it smooth and short for you guys. But you know, before we wrap up, we just want to remind you, you guys are not broken. With whatever it is that you've got going on, you're definitely not broken. Okay, so whatever you do, keep on being yourself, be authentic, and, you know, keep pushing forward to whatever your dreams and goals are. Because I'll tell you what, that's one thing that Leti and I are doing, is we are definitely pushing toward our goals and dreams. Sometimes, you know, it gets it can be rough sometimes, because there's so much going on, and we want to make sure that we stay, you know, focused. And there's a lot of things that can throw you off, right? There's so much going on in the world. You have social media, you've got family, you've got, you know, so many things that can distract you from what you need to do or want to do. So we're staying close to the fire. We're being, you know, true to ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
And making sure that we're going toward our goals and dreams. And again, having this podcast has really helped in so many ways. Shout out to Desmond Soon for putting us up on this and saying, hey, you guys to start a podcast. And here we are. And we have invested quite a bit of money in this. And we're saying that to say it's been something, it was not just a goal, but it was a dream. It was something that we really wanted to bring forward, because now, thanks to our brother David, we have the ability to reach the world. You know what I mean? We have the ability to reach. And again, we've been pushing toward this since we started. If we want to make the most impact as we can, and we want to be able to bring on more guests. So we're going to have more guests coming up, and we're looking forward to the growth and, the room for us to do what we're going to do here.
And it's always nice, for us to come back, together on the podcast and, just come and sit with our viewers and each other, and have that time to just pause and reflect and, talk about what we're doing, what's going on inside of us and outside of us too, right? But I think, the most important thing is what's going on inside, because it's the inner success. It can't be taken from you. You can give it away, right? And when the inner success is good, meaning you've got peace, you've got joy, no matter what is going on around you, and that takes practice. It takes practice and unlearning, right? Letting go of the old programs and the old tapes that we play in our head about situations that we've been through. I don't know about for you guys, but for me, these last, couple months, it seems like, there have been old patterns that have been trying to come back, or old memories that have been trying to, plague my mind or get me to focus on them. And it's my opportunity, only this time I'm, to let them go. But this time around, I'm coming at them with more wisdom and more love, right? And just reminding it that, reminding that pain that I see you, right? I don't need to always have someone else see my pain, but as long as I see it and acknowledge it and comfort it and ask what it's here to teach me, what gift is it trying to give me, I'm going to get through it, right? And I'm going to continue to have that peace and that joy and that, just heart-centeredness, right? Where I can share what I have with everybody else, right? I can't give you something if I don't even have it myself, right? And we do have a lot to give still to each other and to, all the people that know and love us, and even those that don't know and love us yet, right?
And you're allowed to release your old programs, you guys, totally. Find your joy and live fully as the one-of-a-kind person that God made you guys to be, and we're honored to have these conversations with you guys every single week, because it's not about perfect answers. It's about walking this out together.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So again, we come on, we're live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you guys find this as something that resonates with you, please share it, like it, comment. If you made it this far, go ahead and subscribe. Make sure that you follow. The more rhythm, the more that we get, the more, the more ability we have to come out here and make these for you guys. So again, like, follow, subscribe, do all those things, but share with somebody if this is something that resonates with you guys. We love you guys. Yes. We look forward to doing more of these, and we'll be here every week, and God willing. So thank you guys for being here with us. We love you, and we will see you guys next week at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Just Like Us podcast. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Good night, you guys. Love you guys.